Well, I suppose I should start this one by thanking Jody from Just One More Watch. A little while ago, he did a triple unboxing, and one of the watches he featured in that video was a Steeldive Willard Homage from AliExpress.
200 meters of water resistant ceramic bezel insert. It's just amazing for $65.
$65? Well, I suppose it's less than £100, isn't it? So if it is as good as everybody says it is, if it fulfills the specs that it boasts, then it still might be a good watch. So yeah, I bought one, as you can see, for £91, shipped to my door. Took a while to get here, but it got here. So as per usual, I'll unbox it. I'll ramble about it for a bit because that's just what I do, and I'll probably edit it way down. And then I'm gonna slap a new dial and hands on there. So let's get to unboxing it and then we'll mod it. A package within a package. There we are. Steeldive. They didn't even get the sticker aligned in the recess properly. Right, let's have a look. I've been eager to receive this. Gosh. There. Okay. As per usual, you always get one of these link removers to adjust the strap. Got the watch here. And a blank warranty card. I guess that's useless. And the instructions, which we don't care about. Let's move that to one side. And have a look at the watch. Wow. That is not bad. That is not bad at all. Shame that the indices and the hands are so green. It's like they don't put any white pigment in the lume when they're applying it to the dial and the indices. It's like they just take pure C3 and slap it on there, which is probably why these watches have such good lume. But as you can see, I went for the sterile version because I don't want a Steeldive thing on the crown or the case back, so that I can pop another dial on here. Let's get all this plastic off, shall we? That's not terrible. I've had firmer milled clasps than this. That's a bit flimsy. In fact, gosh, that's a nice snap on that though. You can tell that's new, but a bit flimsy. Oh well. You get what you pay for. Taking the ruddy plastic off these things is like a challenge in itself, because you can't find where the fold is. Gosh, that is a very flimsy bracelet. Right. Let's see if this bezel action's any good. Is it going to be the retention wire, or is it going to be a proper click ring? I think it's going to be the former. Yeah. Shame about this bracelet. It's very flimsy. Gosh. The home dialer bracelets are better than this, let's put it that way. How's the crown operation? Okay. That's quite a nice crown action, I must say. The spring on that's quite pleasant. It's the 6th of December as I'm recording this. Yeah, I did see a video where a guy complained that it was quite difficult to screw the crown all the way in, but I personally didn't have any problems with that. And then again, I've got quite small fingers. Yeah, it doesn't come off as much on camera, but these indices in these hands they're very green. Like, they just look green. It makes it look cheaper than it is, which is a shame, because if we don't count the flimsy bracelet, the case itself is quite nice, isn't it? You've got nice polished sides on there, nice brushing on the top. And what is a shame as well is that you've got solid end links on that bracelet. And again, because I went for the sterile version, we've got a nice clear case back there without any sort of, you know, the big Steeldive logo on there. I mean, I get what they're doing with it, but it's a very busy logo, isn't it? So they do have a chapter ring in here, but it's just a plain black smooth chapter ring to sort of, you know, it's basically there to be invisible. But I like it. I just wish the bracelet didn't suck. Yeah, it's a perfectly nice dial. The print on that's quite clear, especially the minute track around the edge, very clear and sharp. Pretty simplistic on the font for the automatic water resist, though. Yeah, it's not bad. I guess I would have preferred it to say Divers 200, you know, like this one, but still. So naturally, I'm going to be modding this, just a dial and hand swap. And for the hands, you can't really see them, but you can see the second hand there. This is a NamokiMods 62 mass handset. I've got them on hand just because I pressed the hands a bit too close together and the minute hand scuffed the hour hand slightly. And although I did try to polish it, I just don't have tools small enough to polish it accurately. So that's why I've got them on hand, but they'll be fine for a Steeldive mod like this. And then I've got this dial here, this aftermarket dial that I got it so that I could experiment with it, really, because, you know, most OEM dials have stamped in indices, and I just wanted to have a go at swapping indices on a dial, and I didn't really want to do it on a dial that I was concerned with screwing up. So I had one of these on hand. I bought this July last year, sometime last year, mid last year, because I saw this in the pictures, and I saw the black pearlescent finish of this. You get this lovely sort of ocean wave texture on it, and these beautiful colors, these greens and purples. It's really nice. Yeah, the indices that originally came on this dial were pretty much the same as this, except the 12 o'clock was an upside down triangle, and I think the 6 and the 9 were a bit slimmer, but yeah, the lume on them was just terrible, so I thought it was a good experiment to change the lume on here by swapping the indices, because I think if I was to try and relume a dial, I would apply it non-uniformly and it would look terrible. So yeah, it was a nice little experiment. It worked out well, and so I've got this beautiful little pearlescent aftermarket dial that I was quite happy to experiment on. I wouldn't want to screw with an OEM dial unless it had some big scuff in it and it was, you know, written off, which I have done in the past. I had a couple of SNZH dials that I took the indices off to tinker with because they were scuffed beyond use. But yeah, that's the dial that we're going to be putting on here. It should look nice in here. And these 62 mass hands. If we look at that there, you can see the glass does protrude a bit above the bezel insert as well. It's not a flat finish. Look at this residue on here, and it's tacky. That's unbelievable. I've never come across that before. Like, these things usually just peel off and just leave it completely clean underneath. That's actually left glue sticker residue on there. Terrible. So I'm going to take some acetone here, put it on a Q-tip, and get that off. Gosh, you've really got to put some pressure down on that. Almost. Let's do use the other side of the Q-tip. Oh, and you've dropped the Q-tip in the acetone. Oh, what have you done? Look at that. You can't see it on camera. Bugger. There. Much better. Got it out. I had to pour it into a jug and then take it out and then pour it back in. I used a glass jug. You don't want the acetone to burn through something. You have to use the right kind of... Doesn't matter, shut up. Come on, you can do it. There we go. So, that, it just doesn't dig in at all. It's just this wonderful, smooth... Gosh, that is comfortable. Wow, I'm really pissed that this bracelet sucks. Steeldive, you had one thing left to do. All you had to do was nail the bracelet. All you had to do was pull a Heimdaller and give a really good value bracelet. And it's just... I mean, it does the job. It does the job. Shame that you couldn't get a no-logo version of this, because now I'm going to have a Seiko dial on a big Steeldive logo on this clasp. Gosh. On wrist, the actual watch itself, if we ignore the mediocre bracelet, really comfortable. Like, wow. I've never had a turtle. A Willard, or whatever you call this big chunky case here. I've never had one of these. Really, really comfortable. Wow. Honestly, you're going to get this and you're going to swap this bracelet. You're either going to put it on a strap of your choice, whether that be a NATO, maybe a leather strap, or whatever else, or you are going to replace this bracelet. And I'm sure there are options out there. I'll probably look into some options for this particular case. What the heck is that? Yeah, get out of there. Is that out there? Do you get it? No, it's on your wrist now. There. I don't like bits of lint and stuff on the dial or on the watch. It always annoys me. When I go to edit the videos later, I see them and I focus on them and it annoys me. Just make the lume white. Put a better bracelet on it. And another thing I got to mention, they offer a male end link for this. And I said, do you do the male end link for the no logo version? They said, yeah. And so again, when I bought it, I asked for the milled clasp and the male end link bracelet, not the inverted one or the female one. And then they said, oh, we only do the male end link one on the logo version. I'll be honest, I couldn't be bothered to argue with them in the AliExpress chat box. So I just said, fine, give me the milled clasp with the logo on it anyway. And give me the female end links. It'll probably fit my 6-inch wrist better anyway, because this is, as you can see, it's a chunky watch. It's a thick boy. It's a thick boy. Goodness me. It's just a great watch for 90 quid. Seriously, if you had a decent bracelet on it, this would be a hum-banger of a watch. Not even a humdinger, a hum-banger. Because this, what value for money this is. Less than 100 quid. That's really good. I can't wait to get this on here. Yes, it's going to take it away from that Willard styling, but still, I'm quite intrigued to see how it's going to look on here with these round indices instead of these square ones. I'll wear this for a while, enjoy it as it is, and then I'll mod it. So, let's take this NATO off. Okay. Let's get the dial and hands changed. Wow, what a good start. Just flat out doesn't fit in here. Okay then. I'll just lay it down on here. Yeah, goodness me, look at all these scuffs. That's from one day of wearing it. Oh well, who cares? Okay. There's the NH35. Right. Interesting. I like how where the gasket sits is actually recessed into the case. That's interesting. The case back actually screws down on the inside. Look at that. Look at this big lip. Let's unscrew the crown. Push that down. And then just pull the crown out, just like that. Put that to one side. Even the lovely glossy finish of the dial's nice because it matches the finishing of the bezel insert, that nice ceramic glossy finish, which is nice. So next thing we've got to do is align these hands at 12 o'clock, and then I can pull them off. There we are. And we'll just lay this bag over here to protect them when we use the hand pullers to pull them off. Put this on here like that, just around the hands, and then pull them off, place them over there. Look at that. Nice and easy. Come on. There, got it. So what I want to do here is put that there. Got some baking paper here, so it's non-stick, so hopefully it won't dirty the dial too much. I'm going to lay this down here so that I can take the dial that I've got, this one, and compare the dial feet. It looks like this does in fact have the appropriate dial feet on it once I clip off these others. There we are. Keep that safe. And we'll take the hands, pop them in here, keep them safe. Let's remove these dial feet. One. Come here. 2. 3. 4. Now I just have to file the leftovers down. It's a shame, I was hoping for a cleaner break than that, but you know. Look at that. It fits! And as you can see, the crown lines up. It's actually in between these two here, so I guess it is a 4.1 since it's halfway between. Each one of these minute markers would be, you know, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then the next one, so 4.1. Something tells me the dial is raised up, and I think it's because of the glue that I've put on the bottom. I think maybe I laid it on too thick. You can see it, look. Well, does that mean the dial, it won't be level and the hands might collide at one end of the dial and not the other? The only other thing I can think to do is to take the dial off, lay it back down on the paper and file the glue areas. Oh no, don't tell me. Look at all this crap on it now that won't come off. The dial foot's bent. That has helped, but not entirely. Is it just me, or is the actual dial warped? And that mark there is a blemish that I caused that is actually on the dial. I can't get rid of that. For the most part, that dial is flush. It's not flush at the bottom in this corner by the 7. See how that's raised up just a little bit? And then it's flush there. I don't know if that's an imperfection with the dial or the glue on the back is raising it up. I'm not sure. I'll see if I can get away with it. Come on, one more. Yeah, you can see this one's a bit dirty and a bit scuffed up. I'll put some IPA on a Q-tip and try and clean that. In fact, I'll do it now. Better. Wow. Be careful. Gosh, I actually don't know how this is going to work. That is on. Gosh, it's very sloped. But of course it kind of needs to be, otherwise it's going to touch the indices. It's like it's just above it, but I'm going to give it a bit more, just in case. What's that? There, like that. Just tip it up a little bit. How does that look? That's very much above it now. But do we have any problems? I'll try using it. Look at the way that moves. That's underwhelming. Alright, see what we've got here. Can't believe how angled that is. Oh well. It's just a Steeldive mod, isn't it? That is on. Needs to go on a bit further at the back. It's a bit lopsided. Wow, what is going on? Let's do the old dial thing then. The old dial protector trick. Curve it upwards, just like that. Gently does it. And let it go. You can see little gap between those two there. Alright, let's gosh, I really hope the hour hand doesn't just come loose. We don't have any whoa. Yeah, see? See how the back of the minute hand is bent downwards, and it's because the hour hand is tipped up slightly to avoid the indices. Look at how they're coming quite close to each other. They don't touch each other, but it's close. How does it align at the 6 o'clock? Is it awful? It's always slightly off no matter what I do. See that? Just ever so slightly by like 1 minute. Oh well, I'm not going to lose sleep over that. This is a Steeldive mod. Why don't we see when it ticks over? Put me out of my misery. Gosh. It ticks over at 4 minutes 2. That is a shame. But I won't lose sleep over it if I don't let it bother me. There we go. Gosh, that went on. I lined that up pretty quick. Gonna give that a gentle push down. Not too much. I think there's good spacing there. Let's find out. Push that in. That's working. I just hope the hour hand doesn't fall off, you know. If you're shaking the watch around, that has happened to me before. It's one of the reasons I don't sell my watches, because these, you know, 200-meter water-resistant chunky diver watches, especially with nice parts, can be quite expensive. You know, you sell them for £400, £500, £600. I don't want to sell somebody a watch for that much money for the second hand to fall off, or the minute hand to fall off, or any of the hands to fall off. It would just be a disaster. Okay, let's see. Ooh. Okay, let's show that to the camera, shall we? There is definitely spacing between them. It's not terrible. I'm just yeah, I'm not confident, but I'm hopeful that won't have any issues with that hour hand. But at least they won't conflict with each other. at least any more than they did last time I set them onto a watch and scuffed the hour hand, but I digress. So, I guess let's get it back in the watch. I'm just going to hope there's nothing under the glass here. I did give that a little puff though. Right. Here we go. Get it down in the watch. That is in. Well, before I get the crown in, I had to push that in so it's not going to fall out. Just give the glass a wipe here. And see if there's anything underneath it. There is. There's a couple of things under it. There's many things under it. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Whoa, steady. Steady. I know there's scuffs and blemishes and things in places, and I will never ever get them all off, but I can try to get it looking as good as it's going to look. Oh dear, there's a few more dust and particles up by the 11 and 12. Goodness gracious, man. Sometimes it's just hard to see that stuff in this light, I'll be honest. I'm going to use a UV torch here that's broken. I love how all my stuff is just crap. Okay. There's nothing obvious to me. Turn that back on. That is in for the third time. Looks like I've finally got all the blemishes off of the dial. Gosh, that looks so cool, man. Let's put that crown in. The whole movement is ever so slight. It needs to be moved. So we'll just take... Look at this stupid... Got it. Okay. Let's try and get the crown in again. That's better. I just went straight in. Winds it up nicely. Right. Let's get the back on. Come on. Reverse thread that. There we are. That's in there now. Make sure this works. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We're at 12 o'clock. You don't want to engage that. Seems to be functioning fine. Gosh, I've been waiting. Bear in mind I bought this. Gosh, you can see the scuff on that hour hand there that I couldn't get off. I digress. I've been waiting since last July to get this dial in a build to see what this lovely pearlescent finish looks like in a case. Oh my word. That looks awesome. Seems to be functioning just fine. Screw that in. Yeah, no problems. Oh my word. I can only apologise for the lighting. I've got light coming in through the window. I've got my lamp here that helps me see what I'm doing, but gosh, it's just so dark, isn't it? There we are. Just open the exposure of that a bit. That's a beautiful little mod, isn't it? Man, I wish the bracelet didn't suck. Oh well. Yeah, the dial has a little blemish on it there. Yeah, the hour hand has a scuff on it there. It's a little rough around the edges, but at the moment, at least, I'm liking that very much. Let's hope the hour hand doesn't fall off on me. Anyway, let's get this case back tightened up. I do wish that I can't even grip this thing, man. Yeah, that's better. There we are. We don't need to do it any tighter than that. This is like my favourite part of the mod process. You've got it all checked out, done, buttoned up, no crap on the dial. Everything's okay. You seal up the back and you flip it over to have a look. Oh man. You can't see it, but I've got a big grin on my face. That looks nice. I love it. I love it, man. That looks so cool. Wow. It even lines up with the bezel insert a little better than the previous one did, although I still feel like it's leaning over a bit, but goodness me, I'm just going to sit here and ramble all day and stare at this. I'll clean up everything on the desk here, get the bracelet back on here, and we don't need to see me put that on, although I will show that when you take the bracelet off, the end links come separate, because as you attach the whole bracelet, the end link comes off, so something to take note of. Yeah. That looks awesome. And I'm so glad those dial feet lined up and I didn't have to use dial dots. What a result, man. Look at that. Okay, alright. I'll clean this up, get the bracelet on it, and we'll get to the end of the video. So there it is. This turned out absolutely phenomenal. I can't stop looking at it. I've been wearing this thing for days. It's just such a smart looking little watch. Gosh, it just looks so great. And yeah, the bracelet sucks, but it's very comfortable. It's very comfortable, actually. Like I said in the introduction where I unboxed it and rambled about it, it's insanely comfortable. These crown guards here, the shape of this case is just ridiculously comfortable. Really good on the 1970s Willard for having this kind of case. I never thought I'd like this, to be honest. When I got into SKX modding, or just Seiko modding in general, this wasn't on my radar. But, you know, for less than 100 quid, this is outstanding. And it's a great little project watch to mod, you know. Most of these homages, actually, especially the 200 meter water resistant ones, are great for modding. You know, you just buy one and do a hand and dial swap and you're good to go. Especially with this dial. This pearlescent, this black pearl dial is just stunning. In fact, my only complaint is that the NamokiMods 62 mass hands, they're a bit on the aqua teal colour side. They're not as white as the indices, which is a shame, but if I throw up a lume shot here, it looks pretty good. The lume is nice and bright, and it lasts pretty much all night. I remember waking up in the middle of the night, I had it on the bedside table next to me. I could see it. I could still see it. It had been hours since it had even been in the sunlight. Even the bezel insert actually has a surprisingly good amount of lume in there. I'm just staggered by how good a watch this is for the money. I love it. I love it. It's a cheap Steeldive mod, and it's my new favourite. Maybe just a little bit. Maybe a bit more than that. I finally got this pearlescent dial in a build so I can see that lovely pearlescent texture in action. It just looks so good. You know, in some normal indoor lighting, it just looks like a black dial. And then the light hits it and you get this really cool colours. It's so dynamic for how simple it is, especially because changing the indices just transformed it. And so it took a very mediocre aftermarket dial and turned it into a pretty awesome little dial that I think feels right at home in this watch. my only complaint about this Steeldive, besides maybe nitpicking the bezel action, because I prefer a click ring. It feels more premium than this. Just that retention wire, it just feels it feels cheap. But although it does feel cheap, this is quite a smooth one actually. They've done a good job with this, even though it's the cheaper bezel attachment click method. I've got my SKX 171 mod here, right? If we listen to the difference, right? That's the Steeldive. This is the Seiko. Oh, it just feels more premium. You can hear it. Listen to that. Yeah, it's cheap. Gosh, it just feels so much better. It really does. I wish it was like that. So that's my nitpick. But literally my only complaint about this watch is the bracelet. This bracelet on the Steeldive, it just feels like crap. You can just feel it. It's a shame because the rest of the watch is awesome. But one thing I'm going to point out, if I haven't pointed out in the video already, and if I have, I'm repeating myself. This part of the clasp here, this top piece, it's too tall. And so when I put it on my wrist, look at that. The hinge isn't going over it. You have to press it down further and then the hinge goes down. I can't do my natural thing where I flick it on my wrist because it keeps getting stuck. Disappointing. So the milled clasp is fine, but the rest of the watch is a freaking humdinger of a watch. It's awesome. I can't stop wearing it. And yeah, it's probably something to do with that beautiful pearlescent dial. I love how it sort of sets itself apart from the black chapter ring that's in there. It really just makes it stand out. And I'm actually really pleased they used a black chapter ring in here. I think it would look a little bit too grey if they had a steel brushed chapter ring in there. Really good watch. Really nice case. Of course, it's got the NH35 in there. You can't go wrong with that. But I digress. I've rambled on enough. These Steeldives, they're really good for the money. Just a shame the bracelet's crap. Maybe if you get one, get it on a rubber strap, because then you've got a free rubber strap, and then you can buy a better bracelet separately. That would be my advice anyway. Other than maybe go with BGW9, like Steeldive. Come on. They're too green. Those indices, those hands. I could have reused those hands if they weren't so green. But, you know, that's my hang-up. Anyway, that's what I think of this watch. Looking at the calendar, it's December. So I feel obligated to say Merry Christmas and God bless every one of you. This time last year, or around this time, I had 1,200 subscribers this year, which, to me at least, is pretty cool. We've got over 4,000 subscribers on the channel now, so I just want to say I'm really glad that there's that many of you that appreciate and enjoy, more importantly enjoy, the content that I make, because that's why I make it. I make these videos just to share the experience with you, and hopefully maybe you'll learn something from me. I've never given the disclaimer, which I probably should. I'm not an expert, and you don't necessarily want to copy what I do, but if it works for you, great. If you learn something, even better. But I just make these videos to share what I'm doing with those kinds of people that are interested in this stuff, you know? So, rambling over, Merry Christmas, God bless, and I'll see you next time.